change what's changed. So this is wrong. I didn't get there. You can reach me. Hopefully, one of the other slides is correct. You can reach me at moyes@tanawala.net, which is my first name and last name.net.
This is the original slide from the first presentation.
I take January and I 2012.
Right before the world was supposed to end.
Access to graphics designers. I think I could use one. So my name is Moyes. I originally hammered out the start of this group with Salesforce about a year and a half ago. I reached out to them and I said that I'd like to be involved in a developers group. We have an admin group in town which is very vibrant, wonderful people. They meet often, all those things. But it's tailored towards clicks, right? They don't delve into Apex. They're not from a programmer background. So I really thought that there was a need in Dallas for a group that had come in from computer science or some sort of engineering background. Um, they agreed with me. We hashed out the details, um, and they started this group. I think our first meeting was about a year ago.
11/28/2012.
Oh, there you go. So about a year ago was our first meeting. They, at the same time, started developer groups around the world. And I want to say there's 20, 30, 40 of us that they started at the same time. We are by far the most vibrant group. We've met more often, we've done more things, we've helped nonprofits, we've donated a total of 400 hours, I think, in one weekend. So we've grown really well. Size-wise, our group is number three. Um, I, we may be number four, certainly number two in the U.S. Behind Silicon Valley. They have 1,000 members. We have 100 and
250 actually on Meetup. Anyway,
sorry
it's closer to 250 now
for Silicon Valley.
for us.
Oh, for us, yeah. We're
Oh, sorry.
so we're vibrant and we are growing reasonably fast. My desire for next year is to do a lot more really exciting things. Salesforce, their attitude towards us is ask for what you want. Don't expect us to just give you, right? So they want us to drive. So for next year, I have already asked for these things for Dreamforce. I want discounted tickets. I want airfare discounts. That I don't think happens, but I ask anyway. And I'd like for us to be highly involved in the Salesforce kind of ecosystem. Um, our Dallas group is expanding to now include, instead of just me, we have a board of trustees, if you will, or just trustees. Uh, and the trustees are charged with different things, growing the user group, uh, outreach into the community, finding the charity organizations, uh, planning the meetings, finding speakers. And I'll talk about the speaker for January as well. It's not on the slide, but don't let me forget because it's very exciting. Um, we need people who would like to participate. If you have a desire to participate, ping me. Let me know what interests you. We meet generally one time a month as a leadership group for this group. It's usually lunch at Madeleine or someplace. So if you'd like to be a part of that, we'd love to have you. A lot more fun. Well, love to have you if you're so inclined. Um, I won't take up much of your time. How are you ready, Zach, with your presentation?
It's actually Ellery who's going to be leading the way
Okay,
on that.
so
But
let
yeah,
me just run through these slides. Food. Everybody found it? We've got food. Oh, you found it. Door prizes, well, we've got them. Not much else to say about that. Upcoming meeting, we meet the fourth Wednesday of every month, and we meet here. So if you don't see the email, know that we do that anyway, right? So January 4th Wednesday is 20. Somebody tell me what it is. So you put it on your calendar and know that we are there. Future topics. If you have a topic that you would like to explore, Salesforce related, we'd love to hear about it. Are you doing anything interesting or exciting at the office? Something you'd like to hear about? Now is the time. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you'd like to see next month or the month after. And if you'd like to be a presenter, we'd love to have you here. Um, we seem to have the same presenters over and over again, and it gets a little bit. You don't want to hear us that often. Okay, this is where I open it up to you. Public service announcements. Is there a group that you'd like to promote? Are you doing something? Do you need some help? Are you looking for people? I know you're recruiting. So if you have business cards, by all means, there are a few groups in town that I like that are not Salesforce related. There's some bookstores I like in town. I usually plug them during this spot, but this is for you. If you want to plug your group, if you're so by all means, anybody have something you'd like to plug for meetings? Just Salesforce. HTML5 group is excellent. They meet on Spring Valley and Doorway. I think they meet on Tuesdays, like yesterday. Right? They are now deep and heavy into HTML5. I go to those meetings when I can. You should too. North Texas PC Users Group is a very, very old group here in town. They've been around since the 70s or the 80s. And they meet on the third Saturday of each month at King of Glory. King of Glory, right? Church?
Yeah.
King of Glory. We participate in one other thing with them there, right? They teach Java and .NET, and so it's a wonderful Saturday if you have any desire to learn computers. One of the sessions they run is Salesforce, and we teach that. Last year we did 401 and 501, and we got a number of people through those courses and then certified, completely free. I say completely free. You have to be a member of North Texas PC Users Group. That's about $36 a year, but essentially free. And we'll do that again this year. I think we'll run a 401 class in 2014, so we'll start in January. The 401 is the developer's exam. So we'll start that in January, probably run it through to June, and you should be ready in June to take your Dev 401 exam. We'll probably run Dev 501 at the same time, but that runs a little bit longer, so we'll go from January to December. We meet once a month on a Saturday. All right, so I'm not just the group leader here, but I am our expert baker. Every month we have cake and libations after this event. And we celebrate new licenses, new certifications, anything that's happened. We have a new certified 501 expert there. And so we will be, I have a cake for you. I baked it myself, as far as you know. Ignore the Kroger bag that it came in. Sunita, thank you. Everybody introduce themselves. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and the wonderful thing that happened to you this?
Very wonderful.
easier, but I was kind of pushing it with a lot of work. And ultimately, I don't know, if you have already developed in Salesforce, I think it's a little bit easier, but my excuse would be at this age with kids at home, I cannot remember. I really think the exam is not fair. It's more on the tags. They require you to remember the tags, like how this works. And
Visualforce tags.
but what I'll say is I took a couple of exams and I'm telling you, and already people discourage me by saying, oh, people don't get through this test, it's very tough. And I don't really say that. I don't come from development background. I really wouldn't say that. It's more like once they said that, it's just like, I don't have time to study. It's okay, they're forcing me, I just go take it and I don't care whether I pass or not. So that became the thing for me one time. And I knew that when I didn't make it, it was just by 3, 4. And
You don't know.
You require 70% to get to.
Right.
So that was it. Like, and it was more like even the word they might say, oh, can global be used at class level, or it could be a global be used at method level. So you could easily skip that method to class word right there. And that was tricky. I don't know why you want to trick, but I'm from Salesforce, but I'm telling you, I don't like this exam. So
Hi, come on in.
But if anybody wants to take it and clear, I think I can help you guys do it with the first score itself. You have studied and you already come with the background of everything. It test you on a particular field, not particular topic. A lot of questions come from the same topic.
Excellent. So you are now you are advanced developer. So
yeah,
that's
I did
wonderful.
say that if you attempt for it, it's not a failure. And I want to tell is that you really will become more expert because you're studying so much for that exam and you get to know and learn a lot more stuff. And it's like one paper would be more easier than another one. One would be like more multiple choice, just answer it. But some are not like that. Some papers are like they give you the program literally code and ask you to figure out what the value would be at the end.
Yeah.
So those are the little bit tricky ones where my question I'm a very back end person. So front end, especially their testing is on visual course and coding. So they know I think it's back end logic, so you know how to do it, but front end you have to know how the tags work.
Excellent.
So that's where I was getting confident.
Thank you. We'll have you do a presentation one of these days. I know we'd all love to hear some of the war stories with the 501 exam. And so today we have cake and libations in honor of Sunita. You will henceforth refer to her not as Sunita, but as certified Sunita.
Well, I still have like 2 more steps to do, but
Two
I
more
think
steps.
that would be
Okay, I think we're ready for you. Today's presentation, do you want to tell us about today's
Sure. Do you want to
presentation?
pop up the thing in the meantime?
Yeah, sure.
Y'all may have known from our meetup post. Today's topic is called Touch the Cloud, and it's based on a project that a lot of our guys have been working on for a long time. And from Chuckles over there, I decided on the name. Theirs is actually, they have their own name for the project. So what you're going to see here is basically Salesforce working with an embedded machine. And also there's an integration with a .NET app. So we're kind of seeing what we've been talking about for the last few months of basically having Salesforce talk to different things and have two-way data being sent back and forth. Except we've got this additional element which kind of speaks to the future, where we've got these devices which are kind of in tune with what you're doing, in tune with each other, and obviously being monitored by someone. So this is a great use case for Salesforce as being an instrumental part of this. So Ellery will tell us a lot about the embedded side. Will show us exactly what happened, what we did. And I think Sun Couple added a few pointers here and there of why we chose to go this way with Salesforce and why we didn't choose Salesforce for certain features. So with that, this is Mr. Ellery Womack, and I suppose he's ready. Oh. Good call.
All right, yeah, I might think this is touch the cloud, but I prefer to think of this as connected devices. The idea is some customer we have has a product that they want to install all over the world and have thousands of these things. And they also want to have live feedback about what's going on at any given time. So what they need is a way to get this information off the device and onto Salesforce. So that their employees who already know how to use Salesforce can easily get information about how their customers are doing, what's going on with their devices, and just be more proactive with their service. They know before even the customer does, they're going to have this problem. Let's go and notify them that we're aware of it, we're fixing it. And so they're just trying to get to the next level of customer service. So at the beginning, you start with your device, which is all running on an Android tablet. And this tablet is using its USB interface to connect to some specialized hardware, which gives it a hardware abstraction layer, meaning that now it can interface with all sorts of digital and analog circuitry, because we need to get live readings for a lot of information so that we know what's the temperature of our PCB, what's the ambient temperature, what's going on in the device, are we getting any hardware safety faults because this is safety certified. This is actually a disinfection machine, and if used improperly, you can get cancer. So there are very strict regulations about how this needs to be used. And so all this information is being captured all the time and stored in a SQLite database on this Android tablet. And the next step is you would have people logging into the tablet. So you have user information as well, not just device information. So I know who's using it. I know when they're using it. There's a room number, so I know what room they're using it in. They can even tell me what condition they think the room is in, so they know, oh, I disinfected it for this long because I think that it had this kind of virus based on what was happening in the room before. And so all this information is sent every time you do a disinfection cycle up to a piece of middleware which you developed. We're going to call our portal. It also has a SQL database for storing, hundreds, tens, gigabytes of data of just user information. And also, the reason why we have this portal in the middle is we have thousands of devices, which means we have tons of API calls going on. Each one of these devices is going to be pinging a few times every minute up to the portal to get live information about what rooms it's supposed to be using, who the users are, who can log into the device. It needs to upload all of this cycle information. And so when you have E1, E2, device N, all that pounding on Salesforce is not very good. I don't know if any of you have run into issues with API limits before, but for something like this and scalability purposes, it's going to become very expensive very quickly to support this kind of connected device structure without something in the middle. And so,
similarly for storage too. If you're using Salesforce storage, especially data storage, and you run out of space, it's $3,600 per case from Salesforce, even on the unlimited edition. So we devised the solution where we can put a middleware in place, which takes care of the API calls, which takes care of the user licenses, which takes care of the data storage. And we kind of saved a ton of money just by doing that.
yeah, almost.
Yeah, almost. So all the reports, we actually kind of built a reporting functionality in the portal too, where the users can log in and create their own reports, and there are some box reports and dashboards which they can view. So all the statistical data which is needed for the reporting purposes is sitting in portal. What Salesforce is going to do, which Henry is going to explain, is act like a master data manager we have a specific set of Salesforce users, which is very limited. But you can go ahead and create any number of users in the portal with no cost about it. And there is no limitation to API calls, no limitation to data storage. It's pretty cheap. It's incompatible with what you have.
The next step of this is you're going to, as people are saying, is we need to have customer login to the portal, because if I have a few of these devices and I'm using them, I want to know how are the devices running, are we getting any calls, are there any hardware problems with the devices? I also want to know who's using my devices. You know, is one of my employees slacking off? Is one of them working better? Does someone need training because they're getting setup calls? And so for storing all this information, having a nice convenient place for people or for the customers to look at that, that's the other reason why they have the portal. And instead of doing this in Salesforce, as you mentioned, you have, especially like an enterprise or unlimited license, it's going to be very expensive every time someone buys their device. Now you have to pay some huge licensing fee every year just so they can get access to all this information. And like you said, we're also going to have reports, which will be useful not just for the customers, but also for our clients' usage. Because if you just want to get some master report about everything, like let's say I want to see of all of my customers who's actually using the device, this would be the best way to do it. If I want to know across all my devices, what's the most common fault code? What sort of hardware issue could we have, or is there a software component to that issue? What do we need to fix to make our device usage more convenient to the customer, or is this something that we need to train them on? So they're just trying to get as much information as they can out of this to be as proactive as possible. And the last step here is obviously big cloud. So we'll be using SOAP so the portal can talk to Salesforce. And some of the nice use cases for this are every 12 hours, Salesforce will make a call to the portal and say, update me with the last time each and every one of my devices was used, so that I can, as an employee, I can log into my Salesforce account and see for the customers I'm managing, who's using their devices, how often do I need to call someone and say, hey, why aren't you using this thing? Is there a problem? The other things that we're doing are, one feature of the device is, because it's so dangerous, if you aren't trained to use it, they can't just ship this to a customer and then have them start playing around with it. There's a huge liability issue there. So they actually need to train a person before they can start to use it. Because of this, they send the device out to customers in what they call a deactivated state. And in order to activate it, the device needs a special time-limited activation code, which is generated in Salesforce. And someone needs to enter that code into the device, which has to be an employee of our client who will actually go to the customer site, train them, and set up the devices for them. And that'll make a call to the portal to say, here's my activation code. Portal will then make a call to Salesforce to say, this is the activation code. Does it match the device? If it does, then we tell the device you're activated and now you can start being used.
So why did you choose SOAP for that communication?
For simplicity's sake.
Yeah. So we use SOAP between SFBC and portal for simplicity. That's one reason. And we have chosen REST between the Android device and portal because it's lightweight and it was mobile developed for Android. So we wanted a lightweight API in there. When you use SOAP, we all know the benefits of it. We were not worried about the payload or performance, right? So we just selected.
So I heard that you've got routines on the platform that you're consuming on Salesforce side. Well, I think I also heard that you've got some services on the Salesforce side that you're consuming from the portal.
Yes.
So are you exchanging with those or
Yes. Exactly.
no issues?
None yet. Don't jinx
If you
it.
do WCF services, that's where the trick is. If you are doing WCF, Salesforce does not provide you any way to consume a WCF service because when you try to generate a whistle out of it, it will give you some import statement, right? Nothing else. But what the way around is, you create a conventional SMX wrapper around your WCF service and generate a whistle out of it and use it. It's a little bit of extra work, but that's good enough because Salesforce still does not allow WCF service.
And so I guess the last component here is other things that our client is going to do in Salesforce. So every time they want to ship one of the devices to a customer or someone buys it or even someone's thinking about buying it, they might make a case in Salesforce to say, all right, here we have this device potentially going out to a customer. They'll update that, and I get emails all the time, sadly, informing me that someone did in fact buy one of their products. And then that'll also trigger the creation of a real device in Salesforce. And then you need to go in and track things like all the specific device data that we need associated with each device, because we have to encrypt all of our data going back and forth. So we have things like RSA keys, we have manual activation passwords for the device for service users, because as much as we'd like to be the case, sometimes people who use these don't want to put them on their wireless networks, and even though they have cellular, they might be in a location where that isn't an option, so we need backdoor workarounds for all of that. And also we have a special login to each device for a service user with unique credentials on every single tablet. But it also gives them extra diagnostic and testing features that aren't usually available to the customer.
There's another key feature which we are developing right now. Like Henry mentioned, the devices they send fault information to Portal as well. So in Portal, we are building a rule engine where you can define that based on the criticality of the fault, you need to go and create a case in Salesforce. And they have a team which uses Service Cloud Console, and they monitor cases which are coming in, and then proactively can maintain the devices. That's the rule engine which we are developing right now, where you can say if fault number 1024 occurs 3 times in an hour, you need to create a case in Salesforce so that someone can go and proactively repair the machine.
Right, and that most of that logic would exist on the portal. So when the portal realizes it's seen a certain fault code too frequently or even at all, if it's that severe, we would trigger a case and an email to the appropriate person who's assigned to that device in Salesforce.
I think this is the right architecture. Good. Salesforce this year married the Heroku platform for exactly this type of functionality. They married it closer to Salesforce itself, allowing you. I looked at those APIs when I got back, and they are probably 20 times more robust than they were before the announcement of Salesforce One. It's a new homogeneous ecosystem that they want to create. So I think their argument there is that they want to compete with the other cloud, middleware type platform, Azure and others. But they want to do it with the Heroku platform. How did you think about this product when you chose your middleware here, the platform? I think I heard you say it's a .NET platform of some sort.
Yeah, we custom built it. The other key thing with our client was that they want to retain the data with them. They do not want to put it on cloud service because it's all
So it's inside their firewall?
Yeah. So they have servers where we are hosting the app, and we custom built the entire from ground up.
Right, and they were using a cloud-hosted SQL before, and specifically why they switched back. The other problem was a lot of the SQL queries were just too slow going to the cloud, but now we have 2 boxes sitting in the same room, communicating to each other over a local IP, so it's much quicker than what they used to have. Yeah. Only specific information gets synced, because otherwise it would just, the amount of API calls it would require and just the cost to store much data in Salesforce is too expensive.
Even when was the last time device uploaded the logs successfully and all that, we do not sync as it happens. We do it every 12 hours just to minimize the API calls. So every 12 hours we check with the portal. Give me all the devices which have uploaded data in last 12 hours. Just update the data. We have tried to minimize the API calls. That was the entire motto was to reduce API calls, reduce the number of users by 10, and then thirdly storage. So storage is very, very expensive.
So for a device management, you're using Salesforce, but for data management, you're using the portal.
The device management is coming from the portal.
Well, it's all generated in Salesforce actually. If I want a device, be it a logical device, a physical device, I want to create a hospital, a subsystem, a system, like anything that you could think of in the hierarchy that exists in Portal for device management, it's all generated in Salesforce. And whenever you create or edit something, that makes a call to the service on Portal and says, put this into the portal, so that now the portal knows where to put these devices and how to associate all of the data that's coming in. So let's say I'm a customer who's logged into Portal, I can say, well, I want to just go to device logs, and it should automatically query and know that I belong to some hospital, which is part of an organization. So find all the devices for my organization and get all the device logs for those devices.
And if you look at this architecture, the other benefit which comes out of it is, let's say I have this system in place and I want to monetize my data which is residing in my phone. So I sell my devices to, let's say, Taylor, right? And I say, okay, if you want to, closely manage your devices, you can buy a user license for the portal we have. You can log on to that portal. I can give you 10 more licenses for $1,000 per year. You can create 10 more users in there. It's a multi-tenant portal which we have built. So you can log on there and look at your devices, manage them, or proactively look at what faults are coming in. So it's a way you can monetize the entire system instead of going through Salesforce every time, right? Yeah. Or I have a hospital where I want to give 10 user licenses. It's somewhere where if you look at the return on investment, it's pretty high actually. Yes, even if you buy the unlimited edition, which I think they do not sell anymore, they have changed its name. There is a limit on the data storage. There are multiple types of storage in this. One is file storage. Then there is data storage, which means the records which you are saving in the object. So there is a limit to it. And if you want to add more space, if you go directly to them, not to a reseller, it's $3,600 per person. Which is too much. Yes. Yeah. Just check for unlimited edition. I think they changed the name. I don't know what the name is right now. But the information is there. There's a limit on this service.
We ran into data problems. Tell us a little bit about kind of the data issues that you have
Regarding
the WAV files.
the WAV files. What we do is create audio files, and books can be anywhere from 1 to 24 different tracks. And what we ran into was where were we going to store these files and how were we going to append them, and using we're using Audacity to record it, but where we were storing it before, it was going to be like $3,600 a month to store it. Now we're looking at using Dropbox for it. It's incredible the different objects that we're putting in place and connecting them, and it's gotten very complicated.
It's a good option. You can use Dropbox. Another option is you can try Amazon.
Website.
That's the one where it was like $3,600 because we have other files on there, but each time you upload, they charge.
Yeah,
And
they
so-
charge for the bandwidth.
And so that wasn't, we're a nonprofit, we can't.
So storage is always an interesting concern, right? You just can't store massive data. You have to run a parallel document storage and just keep the metadata inside of it. There's some brain damage there that you have to undertake, because if you're going to try and store either highly sampled data in Salesforce or WAV files or documents, just even business documents in Salesforce, you immediately need to run into the data storage unit They'll certainly send you extra storage, but the cost is spectacular. So they themselves now tell you use the AWS integration or use now in Salesforce one is a tight integration to Heroku. We'd much rather sell you storage on Heroku and of course AWS same thing. And Dropbox. Does everybody knows what Dropbox is? Yeah. Right? Dropbox is this thing that we use outside of Salesforce to kind of back up and replicate our files on each other's computers, right? Cloud storage. This year, Salesforce made a very, very, very big deal about new APIs that connect Salesforce One to Dropbox. So supposedly it's now a lot easier to have metadata together. So I haven't played with it. I've read the API, but I think this is one of the shortcomings of the Salesforce platform is that you can't organically just use storage the way you like to use it on your local computer.
You can at least reduce the rate. This is 100 is just
Yeah, I agree.
if they can give it for less than, I think more people will buy. Because you'll have to build the integration once you buy your external storage, like AWS or anything else. You have to use the toolkit with the integration. If they reduce the rate, I would rather go with Salesforce storage. Why would I buy anything else? Right?
Yeah, and even if it were a little bit more expensive, the peace of mind of knowing that you don't have an integration
Yeah.
for a C-suite guy, that's pretty nice. If I pay the extra money, I know that Salesforce is responsible. I don't see that happening. I don't think that Salesforce wants to become a storage company. I think that's why they went out and bought Heroku, which is a fantastic platform. If you haven't played with it, it's well worth as a product in and of itself, even outside of
Any other questions?
So what were some of the other advantages of using Salesforce? Like, for instance, we're seeing that the customer login is using the portal, whereas the person selling the device is using Salesforce. So what are some other features they got out of Salesforce?
Mostly tickets, cases, and the fact that all the salespeople of the company were already using Salesforce for managing their client information like leads. So for them, it was easy for them to be able to, now whenever I want to sell a device, I can just create a device in Salesforce, assign it to that salesperson or account manager, and now I have an easy way of recalling who's responsible for that device, and I already know who I need to send all of the device-specific information to in case anything goes wrong or there's some huge period of inactivity. It's just, for integration purposes, it's easier. If we did all of that on Portal, then there would be a lot of duplication of the information that already exists in Salesforce. So everyone has to make other accounts there, and they have to manage them, and they have to do all the assignments there as well. Whereas if all this happens in Salesforce, it's sort of a common location that everyone already uses. And very few people who work for our client will actually be using the portal. Almost exclusively, they will all continue to use Salesforce just because no one wants to get trained on it. Or on the portal, I would say. They prefer to be, blissfully ignorant of this whole side of the thing. They want to sell devices and manage them.
So the device, what is it? Is it a phone or is it?
I think everyone has been, it's in
Star Wars. Are you familiar with R2D2?
It looks exactly like
Yeah, it's a UV disinfection system. So the idea is you have some machine that looks like R2D2 that you wheel around, and it has a UV bulb that pulses very high energy light. And the idea is that if you have germs or bacteria or viruses present in a room, then this will disinfect the room just because the high energy is strong enough to kill them. So they've done studies that show that if you go around and you wipe down a room, you'll still have traces of E. coli and other bad things lying around, but this will actually kill E. coli, for example. And so using it in a place like a laboratory or a hospital is a lot of proven use cases for why this saves money and also saves lives.
Emits UV light.
Yes.
for a
Very,
certain duration.
yeah, very high energy pulses over a period of time.
It's mobile.
Yes. You just needed a 110 AC outlet.
Very cool.
Depending on the size of the room and whatever they think important areas are, you might have to run it multiple times in the same room, and they'll call these things positions. And so there's almost like a recipe. So maybe if I have an operating room, I would know that, here's the nurse's station, I need to disinfect that. I need to go on both sides of the operating table. If there are things that move, like if you have a remote in the room, you have to flip the remote over and disinfect it again to make sure that you disinfect both sides. There's a lot of flipping things over and turning things around that happens just to make sure that all of the surfaces are covered. But yes, they do have a system of coming up with positions so that they do disinfect every square inch of the surface of the room.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Mobile with a light bulb.
Yeah.
what we are doing in phase 2, you can actually control all that from the portal. You can say, in this room, I have 5 positions. And on this position, I want to run 500 cycles, this one 200 cycles. And then the device from the Android tablet is going to tell the user that, okay, you have finished position 1. Go to position 2 and start the device again.
So there is a human being involved in this process. Walking.
Yeah, someone will have to push the device.
Yeah, they feel like putting a motor in it to make it move. So
Not really a robot. It doesn't learn the room.
yeah, it doesn't learn the room.
Well, okay, so phase 2.
It has GPS. It has GPS, but
So
GPS
we are
doesn't work
doing
that
one
well.
more thing. We are going to put passive chips, RFID
Yeah.
chips in the room at different locations so that and build an antenna in the device which can read the RFID chip and locate where it is. So somebody needs to go and drop the device right at the door of the room.
Yeah, so put some stickers somewhere on the floor, maybe in the door entryway, and also if employees have ID cards, they can walk up to the device, wave their ID card, boom, now you're logged in. You walk into a room, it knows what room you're in, it pulls all of this cycle information. You get to the first position, it tells you, okay, stop, press the green button so that it starts flashing and get out of the room.
So the Apple answer to locational awareness. They don't have NFC chip on. These guys do, right? Android machines do. But I really like what near-field communication solution that Apple's come out with. They have a hybrid solution that that communicates with cell towers, RFID tags. Now, without NFC, I don't know how they communicate with RFID tags. That's probably the part in there. And when you're outside GPS, attempting to solve this one problem that locational awareness right now is discrete. You either have near field awareness, which is done with ID tag, or GPS, right? I mean, there is this gap between those two. And I think Apple's done latest release on iOS 7 has what they claim to be a superior solution. I saw it at Dreamforce, one of the hackathon teams was using it for something similar but slightly different application. They wanted to walk into a store or into an arena to be able to identify important pieces, locations, whatever. For non-profit, they were demonstrating near-field communication as a docent on your iPhone. But along with that, it walked up to a device, gave you the information and gave you the audio. But the really cool thing was that it had a donate button on it. Right? So you could donate $3 or $5 to this thing you were looking at. It was highly locational aware because the next docent item was less than 2 feet away. So you had to be aware near field, and they were doing it with the app on the term will come to me, but they're integrating GPS within with near field communication and cell towers. So you kind of got
Triangulation.
yeah, you got a triangle.
There's another term which is coming up these days, low energy Bluetooth. Because NFC needs the proximity needs to be really close.
Very close, yeah.
So Bluetooth and Bluetooth,
BLE.
Bluetooth gives you
Oh, that's what
which
it's
is a flexibility, where you can stay a little bit away from the
Yeah.
item.
I agree.
Yeah.
The problem that this team was telling me, I don't know if I'm right or not, with Bluetooth, there is a sync up necessity, right? You have to pair up on Bluetooth. And that's a problem because you don't want the user to have to go through an active pairing with the other device. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Think about your earpiece. You have to pair it with your phone.
New device.
You still have to pair. So this, I think, is an issue with Bluetooth, but I don't know whether that anybody's gotten past that one yet. Maybe my information is like that. But I think you're going to see a lot of these types of applications where locational awareness suddenly builds an industry where none existed.
Sure, pretty soon I'll start getting notifications on my phone when I drive by a store. It's like, hey, you want McDonald's?
Of course. And inside the store, you can pull up information on what you're looking at.
Right.
So yeah, I think that may be where kind of the next wave of innovation comes in. Is now we suddenly have easy cheap devices that can tell me exactly where I am within now not 50 feet, but within inches. And can do it kind of transparent. I don't have to do anything to activate this. Just I'm wondering what Facebook is doing.
I tell everyone where I am all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Salesforce One, right, is the new Salesforce. And the big hype this year at Dreamforce was we are now Salesforce One. What that means to us is an API that's now this thick. Until last month, we were thinking, well, there's a software API, the best API, and there's all Salesforce. Everybody else is out there, and you're forward.net. Now, if you look at what they've done, is they've certainly within their own ecosystem, they've built out the APIs. So now you want to think of it as the Salesforce API. You can talk not just soap and rest, but you can now talk in a very transparent manner to Heroku, which they purchased 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And to other partner products as well. So with robust APIs that they that was the big push this year at Dreamforce. And I think that developers are going to jump on board very quickly. If you can walk into a client and say, I can do Salesforce and I can give you storage on this other platform, and you're also selling Heroku along with it because the integration is tight. You're more apt to do that than to sell AWS or Azure or something like that. So I think this is what they're counting. This is the driving force behind this next year. And then the big push also on integration was the Internet of Things. Right? DevZone. You hung around DevZone for a while. So what they were doing on DevZone is they were demonstrating the ability for Salesforce to communicate with the Arduino development platform. The Arduino platform is these little boards, maybe this big, that have embedded in them, everything you want, right? They have digital I/O, they have analog I/O, they have Ethernet connectors, wireless, USB, all in a form factor store. And oh, by the way, it's a Linux platform. So you can now go do whatever you want with it. So what Salesforce was saying, oh, by the way, we now have an API that connects you very easily to the chipset. So the idea there is that there's your Internet of Things. You drop an Arduino into whatever application, whatever robot that's running around, they want it to be Arduino. Right? Whereas until October, you and I were doing what? We were developing it on an Android platform or something similar to that. Right? Yeah. We were thinking that your microcontroller was an Android. They want us to think that your microcontroller is one of our Salesforce connected platforms. Arduino. So I think that we're going to see that change as well.
For certain things, you will. I guess one thing is you are limited to what sort of interfaces you can get onto Arduino based on the availability of shields, because the typical Arduino board itself doesn't come with that many interfaces. It'll have some digital I/O and analog I/O, but that's really it. And then you need to buy things like shields if you want Bluetooth, Ethernet, and the communication interface between those is very limited. They're using 100 kilobaud serial to talk to Ethernet. So you might think, oh, I'll plug this into my 100 megabit network, and now I have all these great transfer speeds. No, you don't. It's not really a true Linux platform. It's running their own basic operating system, and I would say that the programming language is a little bit trivial right now. It's not that robust.
You must not be a C guy.
I am a C guy.
He is the C guy.
It's a C++ platform. Pretty robust.
It's okay, but a lot of their APIs, in my opinion, are limited. I don't have enough control over the hardware as I would like.
You may be right. You wait and see what happens with Salesforce 1. That's the push right now that we saw pretty aggressive. I mean, it was being sold. Salesforce 1 was being sold. So many of keynote is what is pushing right now.
I would say that still anything that requires a user interface is going to be crippled for a while in terms of Arduino. Especially, it'll become cost prohibitive because I can go out and buy an Android tablet for $100, and it'll have a display, it'll have Wi-Fi, it'll have 3G if I want to show a little bit more. Whereas to get all that on an Arduino and have similar performance, you just aren't going to get it.
Yeah, I think that anything that requires a UI will not be a tablet.
Yeah.
But factory floor is what I think the Arduino chipset or others like it are going to see. Companies like Frito-Lay here, a lot of them have already implemented Salesforce in their CRM and their backend. But their factory floor operations are still running on PCs, running boards that are machine. And I think that this is where these guys would like to see a closer marriage. These guys, Salesforce would like to see that data flowing naturally back from the floor. And some of it, I would agree with you, I think, can be tablet based. But I think but a lot of it is more I/O intensive. That's where they start thinking about microcontrollers.
Right.
See that.
Right. So my next criticism of that is we have one client who is we're purely an embedded electronics provider for them, and one of their products is using sub-millisecond control loops for constantly sampling analog and digital signals, communicating with an FPGA, and controlling an ultrasonic welding device. Getting anything that sophisticated on an Arduino simply not going to happen. Especially this device also has 2 Ethernet interfaces running on it, and so we have an embedded web server on the device. We have another application which over UDP on a local network and pull all kinds of device information. I think that Arduino is probably the wrong platform for them to jump on.
And that may be, but I think that Arduino and Arduino type devices are still the answer as opposed to tablet and tablet type devices.
That's true, but I think that they would be better off supporting a BeagleBone and TI-6 BIOS because that's using a much faster ARM processor. It actually has an RTOS port.
Right. So their push into ARM is also significant. Their integration into the Arduino type chipset, into the ARM processor, its platform, is all part of the Salesforce One pushing into the microcontroller arena and putting a connection. So I use Arduino as an example because that's what they were demoing in a big way.
Right.
But I think that push, whether it's the Arduino platform, it's ARM, any one of the other controller-based products and ancillary products that I think this is where Salesforce is now pushing and saying, we want a more direct connection to the factory floor than we had in the past. And I think you're demonstrating that here as well. I mean, even though this is not a factory floor, it's an ideal example of where Salesforce is beginning, even though it's not a really layer. Always will have of some sort, right?
Right.
It's beginning to say, I want control and I want data feedback from the factory.
Right.
Operating. This is part of what they're building in Salesforce One. And I think it's headed there. I think that you will see Salesforce go from the C-suite and from the sales world back into the production. And that's going to happen this year.
It will. I can't wait for the first PLC company to support Salesforce. That'll be interesting. Because anything that happens in an industrial environment is usually PLC control.
And I'd be surprised if there are Digi recently purchased Therios. And for those of you who are old tinkerers, Digi produces, or has traditionally produced all these little gadgets, electronic gadgets. And now they're building the Internet of Things, so they have their own challenge. That's happening this year. They just purchased Therios a year ago. Is that right? And with the idea of their solution. Excellent.
Rocky.
Do you have a follow-up or?
I think you guys covered it. I mean, that was a great presentation.
So, if you haven't already done so, while we're running Stump the Chump, those of you who are new, Stump the Chump is to ask a question that we're struggling with at work, and we'll see if we can't get Sunita to answer it. But by all means, go ahead and stuff answer. So let's start. Who's got a problem that they're struggling with at the office? Salesforce related, please, no personal.
No problem. I just want to see how this requirement will be handled in Salesforce. We have a requirement in Siebel right now, importing the data. It's a matrix format data, and part of the business is sending this Excel sheet in kind of matrix format to the customers, and we get about like 300 customers. We get 300 Excel sheets.
It sounds quite invisible.
But those are like in a matrix form.
Right.
So that has to be, that data has to be located
To receiver.
So, compare this to see how application on Salesforce. So really like this cases that
So you're loading Excel data from spreadsheet form.
correct, but this is like in a matrix format. So I'll show you the sheet.
Tables and rows.
Yeah, but it's not a sheet like if you were to like a matrix, so maybe you have a state here, then go and check mark saying, okay, like for example, if you're selling shoes, you'll say, okay, in Arizona state, okay, the shoe size is number 9, and they say, okay, you're forecasting for 100, and you will state California, they say the shoe size is 10, and you're forecasting. Yeah, right. So this is the data that you're getting back from customers. So for 300 customers, we're going to send this feedback. So we have to get the data saying, okay, which day they are ordering, for which number of shoes, what the size of the shoes, and how many. And we said, okay, 300. How do you bring that data?
Naveen, what's his answer?
Sunco, you know about that? Put you on the spot. So, how come you don't know the answer, right? So, load a regular Excel document, that's fine, data loader. But what about a matrix spreadsheet where it's two things and then one value corresponding to the two? Yeah. How does it even correspond to objects?
You don't have to answer today. You can do offline.
No, this is the fun part.
I'm just thinking out loud here. You may be able to do that by writing a macro in Excel, which you would look up to convert that matrix table to a normal table, and then load that. I will name that.
So there's once you've got your mapping, which is the challenge here, you can. Is it going to use the Excel connector? Is it worth anything?
So the actual problem is what is looking for is to have that matrix data converted into format data converted into a tabular format. I think once that is done, we can.
So the second part is the options you've got is connector. There are third-party products that will transform the data for you from Excel as well. You can use data. Is this real time or is it done in batch?
This could be in a band.
Okay. So you do have multiple options. Once you get the data into a format, a CSV format, then you can run a batch on a data loader, which is free. You can use a product like Informatica to load the data for you. The normalization of the data is something that I think you're completely right. It's a big challenge there.
Yeah, that's what you want to use.
But it's not an unmanageable problem. It's something that Salesforce does quite well natively, right?
So basically, what I'm doing is either Salesforce, just what you do outside, how you convert
Right, and normalize the data.
or normalize the data, and then
You may not want to do it in Excel. I don't. Who else? I have a question. If nobody else is going to ask, I have a question that I'm fighting with right now. I have a requirement where I have to generate a URL on the fly, which I can do based on data that's inside of Salesforce. So I have a stub to my URL, right? HTTPS:// company's website. But then the remainder of it is built on the fly. Built on the fly is kind of interesting because my approach, well, there's a second requirement. I have to encrypt the URL before I embed it in an email that's been sent out. So there's the encryption portion that I have questions about. Right? What are my options? There's a crypto class, but it doesn't match up correctly to this. All right, we'll come to that in a minute. Okay. But the bigger question is the client doesn't want me generating the URL and storing it in a URL field to be used when we generate the email. They want the email built, the URL built, when the email is getting ready to go out. I don't know why. So what is my trigger pattern in there?
What's the extra URL stuff based off of? Just some records values?
Records in tables, yeah. Actually, this is it's a complex lead conversion process, right? Stage one is that you apply to the company to be a reseller. Then it goes through, becomes a lead. It goes through a process. Okay, you're either approved or rejected. But before you're approved or rejected, you go through a second stage. The first stage says, yeah, it looks like you might. So at that point, we have basic information about it. Still a lead. Now, you have a specialized web page built for you on an outside platform, but Salesforce is sending out the URL in an email directly to you that says, hey, we think you're good. We'd like to know a lot more about you. So I am converting the lead before I send out the email. I want to know, to me, the easy part of this was when I created the lead, I should create the URL because I can do it on that persist, right? Before insert, before update. And then I've got this field, when I'm getting ready to build the email, I just grab that, encrypt it, and we're gone. What are my trigger events on lead conversion, and how do I hook that in to my routine that then calls the crypto class to encrypt the URL? What am I hooking to? Sunita. Certified Sunita. How do I do this?
You're asking how to trigger it, right?
But it's not really a trigger.
When to trigger it, right?
What's my hook? I have the class written. Okay. That will go and build the URL. Method 3. They want that to be generated at the last possible moment before that email goes out. And I think they're thinking that they don't want that URL line. I know that information well beforehand, right?
How are you sending the email?
From a lead convert.
So that
Outbound message.
part of like the activity.
See, if it was just an outbound message, I can inject the field if it's already in there, right? If I've got a field that has my URL, I can inject that in an outbound message.
So is it at the point where you're converting the lead?
Is when I'm converting.
Wouldn't that be your point of triggering?
So what am I triggering off of? What's my trigger that I'm hooking in?
When you're creating a new record of an opportunity or an account when you convert, but how do you differentiate those from normal account found opportunities being inserted? Not sure.
Yeah.
Are those leads, do they have any identifying fields on themselves, like to show that there are certain type of leads that are going to be converted or anything?
I mean, they're leads.
But what all happens after you decide to convert the lead and before the email is actually sent out?
Yeah, that's so what
What all happens? Is there any trigger that you can have attention in between?
The minute that lead is converted, when he presses convert.
Between you decide to convert it and email send. So when you decide to convert it, after that you do convert. That would be another trigger. At least it's an action. Between your decision and lead being converted.
Right.
But
Just convert, just convert the
You're
lead.
using the standard convert button in Salesforce.
Well, I'm asking, do I have to take that over? Do I have to?
I think for what you're trying to do, you have to do a custom.
But can you hook up to existing buttons?
Well, the override, that's what I'm wondering is, can I just use this? Is there a hook that will allow me to not have to override that button? I don't want to write a custom button. I want to hook my routine up to a trigger that I know is already fired. So
Is
which
there a
one?
concept of action listener on the button?
Sorry?
Action listener or something?
For the yeah, we can override them too.
We can
so
override it.
it's just a
If I
question
override
of-
it, then
Well, if you override it, then you can still use all ones and add the function before or after.
I think we have to replace functionality. I'm not positive.
yeah, we have.
So that you can get the action listener before and hook it
And then
into
just
your
add an
action
extra
listener.
method to it. Yeah. I'm
No,
sure
I
if we
mean,
see
not
that.
adding an extra button.
No, add our extra method.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we see what their code does in order to copy it.
but you don't copy it. You just call the old action listener before or after you do your work. So if you know what it was, you can take it over.
See, I don't think it's available as just like a class lying around. It's actually just a button. You can either use that button or not.
Use the button or you override it. Okay.
You override the button, right?
Yeah. Those,
Yeah, if I override it, then I can do custom functionality. All right, so
So you're saying
I'll
that
give you a 50% on solving my problem. Partial credit for showing your work.
Well, at least we put you on the right path.
No, yeah, right. Gboys, it has something to do with convert. Okay. Thanks, guys. Let's go into
Great,
phase
we're
2.
done.
By all means, let's do a drawing right now. So if you haven't already put your little ticket in here, which I don't think anybody has, come up and do that. We have cake and cokes and cookies outside. Okay, so if you want the short, you drop it in there. You want that? Drop it in there.
And you're in that picture.
And
Until everybody's done. It's still pretty high. 10%. Yes, do that. You'll win. There it is.
I'm gonna win twice now. I got R8.
okay, so nobody leave until my homemade cake, as far as you know, is cut by Sunita. Did anybody else get credentials this month? Just Sunita?
Yeah, actually, I think this might work. Override.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
This is the
Override.
default behavior. So the default here, but once it's
Like, so it's what he was saying.
So you can do that. You can just
There is
add
a
an extra.
sample code here that I put from the community stuff. Oh, really? Okay.
Really does.
Because people do use a lot of lead conversion.
Oh, yeah. I'm writing a VF page for
And
actually.
your other question, I did not ignore it, but I saw it's in the right place with the right group. It is for the particular email.
All right,
to
you're
case
exactly right. It is available as an
group
action.
itself. So you asked about the email sending over 10K, right? I saw you.
Oh, yeah.
I keep looking.
You keep
for
looking for.
that somebody's answering.
Yeah. And we hook into
What?
standard.
Why no when you think
But how do we know this drop in value?
Yeah.
something like
Access to
try
this.
using that. I think that would
Somebody has
Pretty
This was
interesting.
the URL override it with the Windows Pro page, which does the
Somebody
custom
has
in a controller, and then do a page where no override could run.
What is a no override?
It's not talking about anything. So when you override a button, it automatically does no override equals to zero. If you change it to one, over it and force the controller, but still take it.
Okay, we have cake. All right, everybody got their little ticket in here, guys? Faith, do I have your ticket? The Rich T-shirt.
You're gonna get a T-shirt again. You already have that. Remember they gave us.
Go. Did you guys get your
Like I
ticket?
said, it was just nice to meet you. Select.
Okay, let's draw. Come on. Who's drawing for us?
Let's see. Index code cheat sheet. Nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Come on, guys, can't let him have it. I have a bucket here that's got exactly one ticket in it. Ah, see.
Negative. You see, you diminished my chance.
Man, you got to go to Dreamforce. You got free books, and you want more.
Of course.
All right. How about 798? 798 are the last 3 days. 798.
I think they're out there.
Doing drawing. Okay. 798. That's you. You want to do
Not
that?
running again.
This is my size.
It's a medium. Yeah, that works. Cool.
Okay, you're not taking the second one, okay?
Turn them over now.
Now you know exactly which one.
Pick one of these. 805.
That's it.
Oh, that's me.
You see? Okay.
There you go. 805. Cool. And then plural cycle, we're going to do 3 drawings, okay? 802.
That's me.
Sunita, how's the cake? I baked it myself. 807.
Did I get called?
807. Nobody? And then the last one is 799. 799. Oh, yeah. Yeah. 799 is you?
It is.
You want plural cycle?
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My generous offer to refuse your offer. You're not getting anyone anyways. Actually,
Oh,
that's-
oh, the really cool one. This is the best prize of the lot.
we had it already.
I love this slide. Okay, so let's
Very
do 812. Who's 812? Yay.
What are the odds of a Cyber person winning this thing?
Go separately for the battery or recipe.
No, battery circuit. Yeah.
I'm running out of.
Do you like this?
I'm-
Use it. It's really good.
They had a library. Oh, the second level engineers.
I don't know what
They didn't want it.
Tiramisu.
Same?
All the.
What's the middle?
I don't know. It's good, yeah. Moisture.
I woke up with the flower that I ground myself from the field where I sowed the wheat.
He's the backup. You don't have anyone to come.
I'm trying to get people to present something. You tell me.
Guys, the one thing I forgot to talk about was in January, I'm trying to get the, Brain Engine? Has anybody heard of Brain Engine? Brain Engine is the new up-and-comer IDE for Salesforce. Salesforce itself, I've heard them talk about Brain Engine. It's supposed to be an outstanding product. It's kind of pricey. I think it's 60 a month, or maybe it's not pricey, maybe 60 a year. I thought it was 50 a year, something like that. So I've been conversing with their developer, and I think we have him here for the January meeting. That's going to be awesome.